Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your host, Shorty. Today, we're going to take a look at Public Domain by Chip Zdarsky. Now, some people might be not watching this in the country and thinking, surely this came out last week. And yeah, it kind of did, but not in the UK. It arrived late, along with a whole bunch of other stuff, so I didn't get the chance to review it last week. Basically means I've got a lot to review this week, so let's see how we get along. Excuse me. I'm going to start by talking about the artwork. It's Chip Zdarsky, and he's doing all of it. He's doing the writing, doing the art, and everything. The first few pages, I was feeling a little bit disappointed. In fact, before we get that, let's talk about the first few pages, because that is the first page when you open it up there. The comic book starts on the inside cover, runs all the way through to the back cover, and has no ad breaks in it. Zdarsky basically made a whole bunch of money off his Substack, and it allowed him to go to Image Comics and say, hi, just make this for me. He's made a bunch of money already. He's going to make some money from this, but he doesn't need to worry about advertising revenue, because effectively the fans have already paid him for it, so they don't have to worry about adverts. I like that. It's a nice touch. Basically, as a comic book creator, he's made some money and he's choosing to just make more comic books with it rather than buy an island or a super yacht, which I quite like. But anyway, the artwork, yeah. It's kind of a flat style. I want to say flat, I mean, there's times when it looks like each individual character is actually just drawn on a piece of paper, then outline cut out and put onto the page to be posed in different positions. And sometimes that can work. Michael Evan Oming tries it, I think, occasionally. This is a better version of it. In fact, I think with a slightly more bold external line, it will remind me of the artwork from the Arch TV series, which really effectively does that. It even like still bits of artwork look vibrant and dynamic. So I think I get what Chip was trying to do here, Zdarsky was trying to do here. But it isn't until about the halfway point where I think it really hit that for me. There's this wonderful bit where it's two brothers on a beach having a conversation, and the lighting is superb, and the color palette is deep and rich, and there's the city in the background, and shadow and shading leading off into the depth of it, and all of a sudden you get what's going on here, and it feels like everything clicks and falls into place. And it's also a really nice scene because it is a very human story. It's two brothers who are both kind of in the wrong about some stuff, but each thinking they are less wrong than their brother, and if they can convince the brother that they are the ones in the wrong, that they themselves don't have to admit that they are, because the problem's been pushed on somebody else. And it's a very real, very authentic conversation. It feels very human in a way that I absolutely love. And it's the reason why I love Zdarsky's writing. It's why stuff like Daredevil, with its super heroic, still feels very real and authentic, because he grabs hold of these characters really effectively. And that's important because this story is a very human story. It's not about superheroes. It's actually about who creates these characters. And people who were creating superheroes in the 40s and 50s, 60s, basically at any point until fairly recently, were not really doing it to be rich. They were doing it because they loved comic books, and they got to get paid a little bit and pay the bills by writing and drawing these amazing stories and creating their own mythology with it, and sharing it, and having this thing where kids can read it and be like, wow, that's amazing. And the guy or the girl gets to be like, yeah, that was me. I did that. That's cool. But now we move to a point where we are living in the comic book industry being a multi-billion-dollar industry, and whose name is on the cover matters, and whose name is in the credit matters. The special thanks at the end and a £500 check isn't the same thing as being like, no, I am responsible for making this thing that is now making billions of dollars. I deserve a share of that. And I don't think there is the huge push from comic book creators. I think for the most part, if they get recognition, and sometimes, no, almost always that should be financial, like it should be a huge amount of financial recognition. But a lot of the time, they just want to be recognized for what they're doing, and the money is like a great additional thing. It's kind of like the numbers game of like, I'd like to have the money just to prove that that's what I'm worth, not necessarily that I want the money. Although, again, absolutely pay these people. This is not me messing around. I'm not making a joke on this one. Pay comic book creators, pay them lots of money. They deserve it. But this story isn't necessarily interesting for random comic book fans, especially, well, kind of comic book fans who are into the movies more than anything else. In a comic book store, I have had the conversation repeatedly with individuals who were really chuffed that Deadpool was getting his own movie. Remember that a few years ago when that trailer got released? They were like, oh my God, I can't believe Deadpool's finally getting his own movie. It's so long. I can't believe it. We waited years for this one. And without trying to be a gatekeeper in any way, shape, or form, I'd ask them, like, oh, cool. Do you really like the early Joe Kelly stuff? Do you prefer the slightly more pure old bro humor that's it's moved into, that's a bit more accessible? Do you like the Living Deadpool kind of Night of Living Deadpool stuff where it goes into its own separate world? And I'm not trying to catch anyone out. I'm not trying to be like, are you a true fan? But the amount of times that it turns out they haven't not necessarily just read the stuff that I like, they haven't read a single Deadpool comic ever. They're still a fan of the character. it kind of hits home the fact that they don't know who these people are. They don't know who created it, and the fact that this was done just to be part of a bigger world, but one character can get picked up and can be made amazing. This never occurs to them because they just see it as this thing they see on the screen or as a meme or something like that. And I like the idea of Zdarsky trying to shine a little bit of light on this and do it in a fun way, an entertaining way. There's some really nice humor playing off this. A director for the movie they're talking about in this stands up before it to give a little speech at the premiere, talking about how he did not take it lightly that he's doing the midpoint movie of phase 5 of the cinematic universe they're doing, and I think it comes across on the screen that everyone else can tell that he's not taking this lightly either. And then later on in a review, they're talking about the movie as a success for the formula, where they're ever actually talking about the movie itself. These are things which are very relevant to the world we live in right now. Zdarsky could have been really heavy-handed with it, but he hasn't. He's actually told a very human story of families and how people interact with the world and how they see themselves in this world, what they're willing to fight for and what they're willing to defend. It is lovely. It is gorgeous. And thankfully, the artwork definitely gets better on the halfway point and becomes lovely too. That's it for me today, though. I'll be back tomorrow with another review. Until then, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.